dark, but hear me out. I'm thinking about my mother, okay? And the things, like I said it before in a video. I'm gonna sit all the way back here. But the things that my mother has said to me, right? Um, so, it's, the age old, I brought you into this world, I could take you out, which was inaccurate because I was adopted. But still, I brought you into this world, I could take you out. It was the being a little kid and being told that I was the devil, and that being told I was the devil, and that she was going to die that night, and if she died it would be all my fault, and no one in the family likes me, so I wouldn't have a place to go, so like I'd be alone. It was the times where I would try to run away, but I would only get to the edge of the yard because I would think like, oh, what's out there for me? What's out there? Nothing's out there for me. I'm not safe.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
At that point, I didn't know I was adopted, so I was like, if my own mother doesn't love me, who else is gonna love me, right? So I was like, oh, I'm not safe. And I just get to the end of the yard and I just sob. I just sob. Like, I just feel like all of these emotions, like I'd feel everything, everywhere, all at once. And I'd have to cry. I'd be outside for hours, just sitting outside, just crying. And then I would come back and she'd laugh. She'd laugh and be like, well, I don't know where you thought you was going. Am I triggering myself? Yes, but I was listening to someone talk about like narcissistic parents or emotionally immature parents, and for sure, I did have that. We've been no contact. I want to say for about 3 years. I want to say about 3 years, and I have healed a lot since that point, and I do feel like I'm a better person. But yeah, just thinking about some of the things that my mother said. We all got the age old. I put a roof over your head. You should be thankful. I'm just thinking about the different things that my mom would say. There was one time, so my mom didn't like her mother, and I've talked about this before in my trauma timeline if you guys want to hear more about things in details. But my mom didn't like her mother, grandmother, because grandmother once told her that she didn't want to have kids, and she wanted to leave her in like New York, where you can like drop off a baby, right? But she wasn't allowed to. And I think my grandma was like 14, 15. So like realistically, it was a child having a child. Makes sense. Which I'm not saying like, oh yeah, like abuse this child, but also like it was a child having a child. I don't understand how my mom can't see past that point. Like that was a child having a child. Like an immature person raising. You know what I mean. I don't know if I'm just like, I don't know. But anyway, my mom once told me that uh well, there was a lot of like, you're lucky to be with me. I give you everything. You're the devil. You're gonna die. My mom would be like, in some ways, like physically, like she wasn't like really beating our ass, but there were times where like she whooped us with extension cords. And this was like when my sister was really young and stuff like that. It was definitely the switches, definitely the belts and stuff like that. She really got to a point where she stopped using physical force on me when I started getting older. I don't know if Oprah told her not to do it, you know what I mean? Or it was the fact that I was getting old enough to like fight back. I did tell her, like as an adult, I said to her, it was a good thing that you stopped physically like harming me when you did, because I would have wholeheartedly taken your life. I was getting to that point, and I told her that I still had the thought that when you get old, I was going to abuse you, like for my childhood. I don't think people would just do that out of nowhere. You know what I mean? Like, you've done some things, like things that even I possibly can't even remember, but she has done. It's not just the little like, pinching you and stuff like that. It's the silent treatment. It's the ignoring. It's the trying to beg for love that you won't get. It's the never being good enough. You know, It's the placing this bad behavior on a pedestal and pushing you down, when in reality I didn't do any like bad things. I wasn't doing drugs, I wasn't running the streets, I wasn't getting pregnant underage. I wasn't a bad kid. I'd read my fan fictions and keep it going. It was the neglect for me. I know my mom was going through like a lot in life. My dad was sick, but it was the neglect for me. It was the okay, well now you're an adult randomly one day without any teaching of how to be an adult. It's like, oh, you didn't go to the doctor for 2 years? Why didn't you make an appointment? What? You know what I mean? Well, you should have made an appointment. What? It was like legitimately, it was the neglect for me. It was being the punching bag of the family. And I don't think people quite understand what I mean. Like, if you were in that situation, like, in a similar situation, the middle child, I was the first female in the family, too. I just kind of, like, towards the end, I just kind of hid out. Like, I would just hide away. I think my sister had a better time with my mom. I was kind of the punching bag in the family until my grandma moved in. And it was just hearing her always yell about my grandma and like always be angry and irritated about my grandma. And it was just like, that used to be me, and it made me really, really uncomfortable. Like, for the people around who saw it, they were like, oh yeah, she does yell a lot about grandma and stuff like that, but you know they were very sympathetic to my mom. I wouldn't say a lot of people were sympathetic to me. um and, I mean, that's her family. You know what I mean? I don't know what else to say. That's her family. But there was a lot of like little things and a lot of big things. And I think that the whole, like, having a diary, having it ransacked and thrown away, or having my things taken from me or hidden from me, like little pieces of art or things that I do just randomly, like I had to hide things. I had to hide. Like, it wasn't like I was being super sneaky or anything, but I just had to hide things. Or being someone with ADHD and not quite being able to maintain cleanliness. As you guys look around my place, I am definitely at a better place right now. But I used to like have like moments. It would be like, it's not that the room was like a big mess. It was just she didn't like how the room looked. And to respond to that, she would go into the room and she'd dump everything on the floor. And she would make me sleep on the floor that night. Um, it was that. It was that. It was the, hurry up, I'm going to wake you up really late. You need to hurry up and get ready for school in 10 minutes. But I gave everybody else more time. I woke you up late because you take longer. Why would you wake me up late if I take longer? It was the going outside in the car and like starting to drive away and making me run after the car. Um, so yeah, I wasn't like beat. I was not beat. Um, Not in the ways that a lot of people have been beat, but that neglect and that emotional abuse, I felt it. And also being the person in the family where to show love in that family was to push one person down. I felt it. To be my mom's therapist. Give me a moment. Let me go get my food. Whee! I'm Batman. I guess I just felt emotional. But I got chicken bones. And my camera's about to die. But like, do I feel alone sometimes? And I do wonder what I'm going to do in my life, especially with the new situation with Stu. Um, yeah, I do, and I do wonder what I'm gonna do next. But it is what it is, and I have to say I'm definitely 100% better off out than I was in. Um, I felt a little bit of sadness. I woke up the other day and I was dreaming about my mom, and I thought about how she was a foster mom and all of these kids were in and out of her house, and I was thinking maybe, like, hopefully someone made it. Someone made something of themselves past that point, right? I don't know. Someone did something, and I don't know, and I think in my head